The NFL's two best teams are about to collide. Hurts, he's sneaked, he's pushed, and he's in. Touchdown. Back goes Mahomes. He's looking. It's intercepted. Down the short side is the Gene. It's in for a touchdown. Happy birthday, kid. Mahomes is back. He fires over the middle, and it's intercepted again. And the Eagles are in scoring position again. He's looking. He fires. He completes it. Touchdown. This offensive line of the Kansas City Chiefs flat out cannot block the Eagles' pressure.
Having this vision of just being the best that I can be, and that evolving over time into this desire and this flame inside to win.
The Philadelphia Eagles have won Super Bowl 59.
History is going to show the final score of this.
And that is my cue to jump in and say the Eagles are champions once again. They've won their second Super Bowl since 2018 rather. But hey, you know what? This is really exciting for me. I'm an Eagles fan, as you all know. And my last couple videos have been really Philadelphia Eagles centric. But since starting this podcast, I haven't had the opportunity to really showcase my excitement, express my happiness as an Eagles fan. And here we have it. The Eagles are Super Bowl champions of Super Bowl 59. And in this video, I'm sure you've seen already so many different recaps. You've heard so many different stats. And I just want to share some things that I found really interesting when it came to analyzing this great Super Bowl matchup. And I guess for me, let me just preface. This is the matchup that I personally wanted. 2 years ago, when the Eagles faced the Chiefs in Super Bowl 57, I was very salty with that end result, with the very controversial holding call that was called against James Bradbury on Juju Smith-Schuster. I thought it was a very cheap way to lose. And ever since then, I said, you know what? I want to see the Kansas City Chiefs once again for a rematch, run that back, and hopefully get our lift back. And sure enough, we did. But okay, let's go ahead and go over this matchup. For starters, it's insane. The Philadelphia Eagles were able to ride behind not only the great defense, but the strong performance from quarterback Jalen Hurts, who secured his first Super Bowl MVP. This kid was awesome. Kansas City had a clear objective, and that was to make sure that Saquon was not going to be the impact player, forcing them to make sure that Jalen Hurts would be the person to beat them. And unfortunately for them, Jalen Hurts showed up. He threw for 221 yards, had 2 touchdowns, rushed for 72 yards, as well as a tush-push touchdown early in the first half. And Saquon was still very effective. I know he had 25 carries, was held to under 100 rushing yards, but that's the part of this team that is just so effective. They're so deep. There's so many different ways that they can beat you. And in this game, it was exclusively coming from their offense in the passing game. But I would be extremely remiss if I didn't give this defense its due. This Philadelphia Eagles defense was amazing. Now, if you don't remember, in the video where I was previewing this matchup, I said very explicitly the Philadelphia Eagles defense would be the key. It would be the deciding factor. It just had to be, because both of these offenses are so well matched. Both of these teams are so well coached. But I thought that on paper, the Eagles were the more talented team, especially on their defensive side. That's where I saw much more strengths that were favoring the Eagles. Now, the passing game as well as the running game, I felt were almost identical. Obviously, Saquon is way better than Pacheco. I'm not saying that they were anywhere near close. However, the offenses for me were really close, because you obviously have number 15 with Patrick Mahomes there for the Chiefs. Well, let's just go over how amazing this defense was. They had 6 sacks on Patrick Mahomes on a 38% pressure rate, despite not blitzing whatsoever in this matchup. I mean, Vic Fangio coached himself a perfect game. He held this Kansas City Chiefs defense to only 6 points for most of this game. In the first half, I'm going to read you some stats here. For Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes had 6 completions on 14 attempts for 33 yards and 2 interceptions, which led to a QBR of 11.4. That is the second lowest of Patrick Mahomes' career. I said he was sacked 6 times in this game. It was the first game that he's had 4+ sacks and 3 turnovers. And he is the second quarterback in Super Bowl history to throw interceptions on consecutive drives. The Eagles, this postseason, were absolutely impressive. They were plus 12 on the turnover margin. Plus 12. So they had 13 turnovers that they got from the opposing teams to their only one that they had. And this was in this game where Jalen Hurts threw a pass that seemed to be a little bit rushed, that the Chiefs were effectively able to get to him on. I mean, and then can we just talk about Cooper DeJean? I mean, the exciting whites, right? These guys were awesome. Pick 6 on his birthday. That's where I think me and my family went crazy. So me, my wife, and my 2 kids, they're fans by association. My wife by marriage, my kids because it's inherited, right? They're very young and they love to see daddy really excited. And anyways, it was really awesome, really awesome to be part of it. But yeah, we went crazy on that Cooper DeJean pick 6. And quite frankly, seeing how talented this Philadelphia Eagles team is, top to bottom, is so surreal. And it just speaks to how amazing Howie Roseman has been as far as being able to turn this team around after the collapse last season, after having come off a heartbreaking Super Bowl loss. But you know what? Before we go any further, I want to go over some fun facts from the Super Bowl. For starters, this Super Bowl was the most watched, 126 million viewers. The most watched Super Bowl ever. I know we're hearing all these mixed reviews about, it was a blowout, it was kind of boring. I mean, for us Philadelphia Eagles fans, that game was something of beauty. I just got to go back to this graphic. I never want to advocate for someone getting hurt. I'm not saying that with this image. But I just loved how aggressive this Philadelphia Eagles defense was and how physical they got with Patrick Mahomes to let them know, hey, we are here. We are here to play a hard-nosed game. And we don't care if people aren't talking about us, that we're not favored. You know, and I'm going to show a little bit later into the show real quick about all the analysts picking the Chiefs. And I thought it was, okay, you know what? I'm going to screenshot it and save it for later. But anyways, let's go back over here. So the most watched Super Bowl ever with 126 million views. And we're going to make a little pivot. We're going to go into some pop reference here. Kendrick Lamar, he now holds the most watched Super Bowl halftime show, drawing 133 million viewers. That's a new record. This is according to Rock Nation. A very fun, if you're into the whole Kendrick and Drake beef, this was definitely a fun one to watch. I mean, Kendrick always gets you with the symbolism, being mindful. We see Venus Williams there quip walking. You see all the various symbols with the PlayStation controller buttons, and you see Uncle Sam with Samuel L. Jackson. So a lot of fun things there. But one thing I wanted to share was how talented this Eagles team is, because quite frankly, this team has me excited for a few seasons. I mean, ESPN released the power rankings where they have Philadelphia as the 4th ranked team behind Kansas City, Detroit, Buffalo, all good teams, but good Lord, I mean, the respect that the Eagles seem to not be getting. And that's fine, because I feel like us Philadelphia Eagles fans, and especially the city of Philadelphia, they tend to really pride themselves on being the underdog, right? That's why the whole Rocky aroma is so powerful there. But, I mean, this young core that features Devonta Smith, you have A.J. Brown on the offense, you still got Saquon under contract, and the defense has Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, Jalen Carter, you have Nolan Smith Jr., you have Nakobe Dean, who's going to be coming off an injury, praying that he obviously has a really good recovery. But check this out, though. I mean, we still got Howie Roseman. That's the thing, right? We have this great GM. We have a fantastically run organization. But let me show you something with you. Look at this right here. This is all from the Carson Wentz trade. I mean, this is how good our management has been when things seem to be in a huge disarray, right? We had Carson Wentz and the whole fallout with Nick Foles, and then Carson Wentz just couldn't stay healthy, and then there was murmurs. Okay, why did they draft Jalen Hurts with such a high draft pick in 2020? But then you see what they were able to do after signing Carson the year prior to a guaranteed contract. They trade him to Indianapolis, and they turn Carson Wentz into Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, Jalen Carter, and Cooper DeJean. I took some notes here on this. In 2021, Philadelphia traded up for Devontae Smith. They used the 3rd round pick from the Colts trade here with Carson Wentz. In 2022, I remember watching this live and I was going crazy. They used their 1st round pick from the Saints. This is all from the pick they got from the Colts too in that package. And they traded it to get AJ Brown. So they swapped with the Titans. And I remember this because I remember Treylon Burks was supposed to be the guy that was going to be drafted, right? And essentially the Eagles traded Treylon Burks for AJ Brown. I mean, how this trade has aged has gone horribly for the Titans, great for the Eagles. And then in 2023, 2024, both Jalen Carter and Cooper DeJean, the Eagles moved up using picks from this trade that they had with Carson Wentz to pick up both Jalen Carter and to also pick up Cooper DeJean. And I remember too, when we drafted Quinyon Mitchell, there were some murmurs of like, oh, well, they could have used that pick to draft Cooper DeJean. Don't worry. The Eagles waited in the 2nd round. He was still there and they drafted him. And I think that this team does such a phenomenal job of drafting talent and not really ever being in a need to draft for a certain position. So all that to say, I think this Philadelphia Eagles defense and this Philadelphia Eagles team in general is going to be a wrecking crew in the NFC and in the NFL, especially because they have such young talent under contract for a few seasons. The cap only continues to rise in the NFL. And I mean, and Howie Roseman we trust, right? I mean, I don't think any Philadelphia Eagles fan is quite nervous about how Howie Roseman runs this organization. I mean, we know that he's going to be someone that's going to help the Eagles stay competitive. But I felt really good. I mean, I had a phenomenal time with my family, with my girls, and yeah, this was such a great Super Bowl for me to watch as a fan. And here's hoping that we have some more coming up. Of course, this was a phenomenal fantasy season, phenomenal football season for me personally. And for all you Eagles fans, I want to know how you guys feeling out there. I mean, and for all you NFL fans, how you guys feeling about this upcoming season? Are the Eagles going to be the contender again next year? Who do you see making big moves to retool? Where's Aaron Rodgers going to go? So we'll get all into that as the offseason now is underway. But for now, if you found value in this video, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, stay tuned by hitting the push notification bell that way you don't miss any of the uploads that I'll be having. I'll be uploading some more shorts. I'll be doing some long podcast series about what you should be doing in dynasty formats, what you should be doing to get ready for a redraft as the summer comes along. But hey, in the meantime, thank you so much for tuning in. And for all my Philadelphia Eagles fans, we have the parade coming up on Friday. Fly, Eagles, fly. Take care. God bless. Peace.